Welcome to the Windy City Benders podcast, presented by Beer League Talk with your hosts, Nolly, Poetzy, Jarom, and Tanner.
Heyo! What's up, everybody? Coach Poetz is back. Episode 64 of the Windy City Bender podcast, presented to you by Beer League Talk. Today we are running a three-man crew once again. Tanner is off being a bartender. So today you got Poetz along with Nolly. How are ya?
Hey.
Okie dokie. And we've got Jarom. How you doing?
What's good, boys?
Everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome. Like that song
exactly like that
from
song.
that movie.
Yeah. From that one movie, yeah.
They had
100%.
Batman in it, so that was a movie.
It did. And, God, who was the guy that played him?
Will Arnett.
Yeah, Will
Yes,
Arnett.
Will Arnett. I was like, really? Didn't expect him to be the guy to voice Batman.
He already has the raspy voice, so he really didn't have to do anything.
I guess it worked.
I'm Batman.
I guess it works. So,
Where's Rachel?
I got a question before we get started, Poets.
We already got started.
Oh, well, do you work for the Blackhawks now?
why?
You know, nice little official setup today.
Just I am wearing a shirt too, aren't I? I am.
Yeah,
didn't
thanks for
even
letting the
realize.
boys know. Jesus.
Yeah, sorry.
So congratulations.
I'll just go down like this so nobody can see it.
You couldn't break any of the trades or transactions early, like I did with the Phil Kessel to Arizona.
Yeah, good for you.
We should have tweeted that.
Good for
Insider.
you.
I was thinking
Yeah,
about that. We
It
should
was
have
only like an hour before.
still
Yeah.
before anybody else even spoke of it.
You know, could we really call you the insider though? Because it wasn't necessarily you.
I
that
have
did.
the insider.
Oh, you have the insider, so
I
you're not.
am
There you
the
go.
insider. Yes.
Gotcha. Well, now that we're kind of on that topic, why don't you tell
The
everybody how that kind
Sam Cider. I don't know.
of? I don't know.
I don't
Just
know.
go,
I tried.
go into how you got that text and how you got the info, because that was kind of cool.
Well, friend of the show, I guess, kind of, maybe, in a sense, works for the Coyotes, and he got a text the other day, and what was it? It was Saturday, right?
Saturday,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're
Yeah,
about to
he
go to the
texted me, and he's like, Brian, I'm freaking out. I just got called into work. This never happens, and he does ticket sales, so, like, why else would he get called into work? He's like, I think we just got Kessel. And I was like, no, like, maybe they're announcing like the new owners. He's like, no, we officially did that already. Like, this is something different. Like, it's Kessel. I swear it's Kessel. I'm like, okay, well, now I'm freaking out. So you got my attention. And yeah, like an hour later, I texted that to you guys, and you guys are all like, no, like, I don't see that anywhere. Like, nobody's tweeting about it. And literally an hour later, I think it was Elliot Friedman, Phil to Arizona. And I was like, oh my God, Sam, you broke the news first. Oh my God, I knew before everyone. He's like, just remember that. And I was like, oh, I'll always remember that.
That was really cool, though. How he immediately went to it's Phil.
Oh yeah, he's
It's Phil.
he's been telling me since the beginning of the summer. He's like, one of his buddies that works there that isn't on sales is like, we really want Phil. Like, he keeps talking about how we're getting Phil, and Phil only wants to come here. And before even like all the news came out that Phil announced that he only wanted to go to Arizona, he was telling me that Phil wanted to go there. So it's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's cool as hell.
So
Shout out to Sam.
Like, I felt like Bob McKenzie or whatever, just
Yeah.
it's we don't put it on any of our social media, so we don't really get the
Yeah, I know.
the clout from it.
It's
We're all
fine.
a little
Also,
bit
did you see Bob McKenzie's new Twitter account? It's
No.
Bobby Margaritas and his pictures of
Yes.
margarita. Classic. That is awesome.
Good for him.
So here's the
that's
question. Here's the big question now. Since Sam, basically broke this, does that mean we're getting Phil on the show?
That
Get
we're
him on
getting
the
Phil.
pod. Oh, well, so I asked him, I was like, I have a bunch of things. Can you like get them signed for me? He's like, I'll see what I can do at this year's Christmas party, because I'll actually be an employee, unlike last year. And I was like, please ask what his dick looks like and give him a hot dog. And he goes, all right, yeah. I said, just walk up to him and give him a hot dog. And then he's like, yeah. And I'll ask like, what his dick looks like. And I was like, yeah, get Biz next to him too. It's going to be the greatest Christmas party that the Coyotes have ever had. He's like, yeah, here we go.
Oh my God, I'm so jealous.
Yeah. Cool job. That's for sure. And he was saying that he like walks around and he like passes players on the concourse, like taping their sticks up in the stands before the game, and it's just like, oh, okay,
His lunch break, he goes watches practice.
cool.
Guys they still have ice out there. They're still practicing on the big rink.
Are they really?
Yeah, he still sends me snaps.
Interesting. Well, we'll get into other moves in the NHL, but first we'll touch on a little bit of Hawks talk. A couple
It's
of big,
more of like a foghorn now. It's not even like Hawks.
no, like a hurt duck.
I'm going down.
Before July 1st had even come and free agent signing was open, Blackhawks made a pretty decent move and once again reacquired an old Blackhawk. Andrew Shaw is back in Chi-Town, and it was one of those trades where I'm pretty sure everybody initially was like, what the hell is going on?
Still kind of like that for me, but
Yeah, you were freaking
dude,
out.
I don't know.
I'm just looking for any excuse to hate Bowman. Yeah, we know. And not even paying attention.
Not even because I know like I can't say anything against Bowman without getting like just fucking like thrown under. So I just won't say anything. But proceed.
I will proceed. Thank you very much. So the Hawks got Andrew Shaw in a 2021 seventh rounder for 3 draft picks, 2 in 2020 and 1 in 2021. And the Hawks retained all of the salary, I think.
Yeah, they took on the whole salary, but they also got a 7th round pick. So the 7th rounds are basically a flop. So they pretty much just gave up a 2nd and a 3rd for him.
Yep.
Which kind of feels like a hefty price.
A little bit in
for a 4th line guy.
So yeah, that's the thing that I'm most concerned of is where are they going to put him in the lineup? Because I was at work today and I was just kind of making up like a mock lineup on my own, and I really couldn't find anywhere else to put him other than either the 3rd or the 4th line, and I don't necessarily know how you can pay somebody like Andrew Shaw $4 million a year to just kind of chill on the 3rd line, potentially the 4th line.
Especially when you have Anisimov making more than him, and that's giving the same exact situation.
Yeah, but at least at the beginning, Anisimov was a 2nd line guy, and he was getting a shit ton of points with Panarin and Kane.
Fair.
That's the thing. Like, you traded Shaw, or you let Shaw walk initially because you didn't want to give him this big paycheck, which he got. So now you just traded it back and took on the full salary, which I get the cap was higher back when he signed that, so it was a bigger cap hit. But now, like, I understand where it's at now. Like, but I don't know. Like, he's definitely gonna be a bottom 6 guy. Big for the PK though. I don't know. I mean, I just still feel like it's a hefty price, even though like we still got to brink it out of him, and technically we have him back now. So like,
yeah,
it's kind of a win-win in a way. But I don't know. I mean, 3.9 for a cap hit. It's kind of.
I will
tough.
say this. Back when the Hawks traded him, I remember thinking, "Holy cow! That's a huge salary relief. That's a lot of money to play a guy like Andrew Shaw." Whereas that same contract nowadays, it's like, oh, you know what? It's not that bad. It's not great.
It's a third guy that can put up a decent amount of points. So I mean, last year he had. Let me see. So I mean, he hasn't played a full 82.
That's the biggest issue.
Montreal, he had 63 games, 51, 68. Last year, 47 points, which I mean, that's a decent amount of points for a 3rd, 4th line guy.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue I think everybody is seeing right now, and I think that was one of the first questions that he asked was, or that he answered, I should say, in the press conference was, my health is fine. I'm feeling great. It's, just kind of making sure that I stay healthy,
Yeah.
But also the way that he plays, you can't really expect him to stay healthy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not at least fully healthy. So,
I mean, technically coming off a career year, so I mean that's good at least.
yeah, absolutely. So I mean, you can't really be, I don't know, can't be too mad at the deal. I mean, there's a certain possibility that this thing could end up being, um, a disaster, but at the same time, it could end up being pretty okay.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, it's something you can't really judge until season starts and he starts playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think my initial issue with it was one, I
stop bringing back old players.
That was one, yeah. Because how's that work? How has Saad worked out for us with that? How's any of these players? But I think also, my mind, I wanted Anders Lee so bad, and it wasn't really reported how much he was asking for. So at the time, I thought that salary coming on was money we could put towards Anders Lee. But then obviously it came out that he was asking for 9+, which, yeah.
And he ended up getting 7.
Yeah, so that was before knowing that information. I think that was an issue. And then part of me why I'm kind of iffy on it is that I still think that we could have used that money to go for another player like a Dzingel and potentially have the same role, but also more potential to play on top 6 minutes as well. Where Shaw, I think, is kind of stuck in that bottom 6.
I don't necessarily agree with that because I feel like your top 6 are pretty much set unless, Saad starts to have an off time. I guess you can move Dzingel up there, but I don't know.
That. You could take Perlini and put him up there.
Yeah, or that's Kubalik kid. We don't know what he's going to bring to the table. I don't know because there's something about the Dzingel. I don't know if he was hurt last year or anything once he got traded to Columbus, but on a mediocre team, yeah, he can score goals, but somebody has to score goals on a mediocre team. When he moved to Columbus and there's a bunch of stars because they went after it this year, he fell off and he wasn't even on the radar. That looked like a dumb pickup part, one of the dumb pickups that they had. So, I mean, I don't know. If they get the Dzingel, I'll be pretty happy about it because it adds even more depth to it. But if they don't get him, I'm liking the lineup that the Hawks have.
I don't think they think they can now. They're only at $1 million in cap space right now.
Yeah, but I mean, if Anisimov does get moved, that frees up a lot of space. So, I mean, they still have room to make moves, and it doesn't sound like Bowman's done yet. So,
yeah, that's what I was going to say too. Is it sounds like there's still more to come from Stan Bowman. So I would assume at least one more trade being made, one more pretty decent, cap hit is going to end up getting moved off the roster here. So, and all signs are pointing to Anisimov, unless by some stroke of, genius, they end up moving that Seabrook contract. It's probably going to end up being Anisimov.
Yeah, he doesn't have a trade protection or anything like that anymore. So,
no. So, for free agent, July 1st, opening of free agency, the Blackhawks were a little quiet. Only had made one move early on in the day, and it was signing Ryan Carpenter to a 3-year, $3 million contract. Huge fan of that deal, by the way.
Big fan.
Love that. Yeah. Adds a little grit in there. It gives a little bit more depth to those bottom 2 lines.
I feel like him and Shaw are just gonna be fucking bucking and grinding it together.
100%.
That's gonna be a savage line between them two.
Yeah, that would be
together,
yeah, that would be a pretty nice line to have.
That could, I mean, every year that the Hawks won, their fourth line was one of their best lines. I mean, that could potentially lead to one of the best fourth lines in the league.
Yeah, I mean, that's what won them the cup in 2013. I mean, Kruger and Bolin.
Yeah,
teaming up for that.
And Frolik.
Absolutely. And then the biggest move that the Hawks made on day one was probably top 3 biggest surprises of the day, NHL wide, and that was signing Robin Leonard to a 1-year, $5 million contract.
Yeah.
What was your first reactions when you heard that deal was being made? Because my mind immediately leapt to, okay, now we've got 2 options here. We can either re-sign Leonard by the time that this deal is done, by the season's done and get rid of Crawford if Crawford stays healthy, or we kind of juggle the two of them, kind of like a split season type of a thing for the first half, make sure Crow's fully healthy, and then after, ride Crow the whole way and trade off Robin Leonard for some assets.
At first, I was like, "What the fuck?" Because I didn't expect it. Like everybody, all the signs were pointing to the Islanders, and then obviously the Islanders fucked up that whole situation, that whole relationship that they had with Leonard, apparently. And then my other, the other what the fuck was why? Why are we paying a guy $5 million to back up? But then both of those thoughts came through my mind, and not only obviously you never know with Crawford's health. So, I mean, if he goes down, we got a solid backup. Like last year, Cam Ward, he stepped in. He did a lot better than everybody thought. But I feel like Robin Leonard, if he's in that situation, he probably makes the team a little bit better than Ward did last year.
A lot better.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a mix of making sure we have somebody if Crawford gets hurt, taking that load off, because you look at the teams that made it pretty decently far into the playoffs this year, they had a 1A, 1B. They let their starters rest for a little while. And, I mean, it shows that it pays off in the long run. So, I mean, and honestly, if that's the case, if you do a 50-50, 60-40 of the crease between those two, that's a lethal tandem for the Hawks.
Yeah.
You can argue it might be one of the top in the league, right? Going into
I honestly think it is. Should Crawford come into training camp healthy, it's probably the number 1-2 punch in the league at this point in time. On Spit and Chicklets, I was listening to that today. They were saying that the Dallas Stars 1-2 punch is the best one between
Bishop.
Bishop and Khudobin, which I don't necessarily agree with, because Bishop, although he had a phenomenal year last year and he was one of the top goalies in the league, Anton Khudobin really didn't do all that well. He wasn't incredible or anything like that.
He was average at best.
No, he was really good though. His numbers were actually solid. He was a 500 winning percentage wise, but his numbers were actually really solid.
Yeah, I don't know. Going back really quick to how Leonard was treated by the Islanders, absolutely remarkable the way that they handled this whole situation with him, seeing that he was a Vezina finalist and he was probably one of the biggest reasons why they made it to the second round last year.
He won the Jennings.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
In the press conference, he had said that the Islanders had, quote unquote, walked away. He wanted a longer term, but the Islanders weren't offering that kind of a thing. And he still wanted to make it work. The Islanders ended up making him an ultimatum on a deal, and he wanted to think on it for a couple of days. And by the time that he actually came back with an answer, the Islanders had already moved on and said that they were going to sign a different goaltender. So I don't understand how you can, you kind of said it best in our group chat, and I know you were being funny, but it's kind of true. Where's the loyalty that all these fans are upset about when Tavares left?
I was half being funny, half being genuine. They're all "Oh, you're a traitor. Oh, you're a scumbag. You're a snake" to Tavares. But it's look at this is business. I understand it. I'm not upset about it, but that's what business is. But when a team does it to a player, it's not a big deal or anything like that. Don't worry, we got our captain back, Anders Lee. Whatever, dude. Fuck you guys.
I want to know what term he was looking for that they weren't giving him on term.
No, they offered him 2 years, $5 million. So it was one more year of what?
But what he was asking them for, that they were saying no, because if they didn't want to give him term, but then they go and give Varlamov 4 years.
That's the thing, and he's 31 years old.
Yeah,
and he's been hurt more than Leonard. I don't understand what their moves are.
He hasn't played a full year. You know what? I think they were looking at another goaltender, but they
wanted Bob, but they didn't get him. But they were never. I mean, if Panarin went there, he might have been able to get him, but there's no way Bob was leaving Florida.
No.
That was destined. Yeah. But I mean, I just don't understand it. I mean, you signed Varlamov, who's 31, to a 4-year deal when you could have signed Leonard, who's 27, to a 4-year deal. Well, he'll be 31 by the end of it, and to the same amount of money. I don't get it. But whatever. Thanks.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, no shit.
So the way I'm looking at this, possibly you're asking kind of how we're looking at this. Do you think, so Crow is now on a 1-year deal, essentially. Lerner's a 1-year deal. Do you think this is essentially also like a prove that you're the guy situation too, a little bit? Prove that he's healthy and he can still be that elite goaltender that he was before he got hurt?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that they really need to even come out and say that to them. I think that's pretty much known between the two of them. I mean, if we're thinking about that already, you can guarantee that that's exactly what they're both thinking as well.
And we've talked about it before. I mean, we were wondering what's going to happen with Crawford after this year, because I mean, I'm sure he's going to want to get another decent sized contract, at least what he's making. But to me, it's not worth it. He's going to be 35 years old, and just with all the concussion history, one bad shot to the head, and he could be literally scrambled. Like literally, just like can't even play hockey. Like you just worry about his health. Like I don't know. But I mean, Leonard, he'll be 28 next year, and if he has a decent year, you can get him a little under probably the $5 million, because he's not coming off a Jennings Vezina type year where he's just a backup. But I don't know. And then you have Delia for 2 more years after this one to $1 million. So I don't know. You kind of have your backup there already, if need be.
The good thing is there's a lot of options.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So you could go a couple of different ways and still be pretty safe at this point, because you've got Delia in the back, who, if things really go wrong and both Crawford and Leonard end up going down for some reason, Delia could take over for Bet, right? And then looking even further down, you got Kevin Lankinen, who in the next maybe 2 or 3 years might be ready for professional play. Somebody tweeted out
the Czech or the Finnish
Finn,
goalie?
yeah,
the Finn, yeah, okay,
the guy that stole the show at the World Championship.
Yep.
Somebody had tweeted out, this is one of the dumbest tweets that I've heard in a long time. They were like, "Oh, well, what about Kevin Lankinen? Don't they think that he'd get the job done?" I'm like, he's never played on North American soil.
And he's like, what, 23?
24.
Yeah.
24.
24 years old. And it's like, what? The Hawks just signed this guy just because he played well in the World Championships, where, yes, good for him because he played up against a pretty decent Russian team. But I mean, that doesn't mean that he could just all of a sudden take over.
It's a completely different game.
No correlation there at all.
No, that's like when they tried to get Forsberg the starting role, or if they tried to give Delia the starting role, it's just not gonna.
Just not smart.
It's not the smart move, no.
But it's good to have a pretty decent amount of depth there at the moment, something to kind of play with as well.
It's a weird situation having depth at all these positions that were such a red flag for us. Our centers are looking great. Goaltending's looking great. D's really starting to take shape.
Yeah. Our D went from shit to all right.
I
can do this. Yeah, I can do this.
Exactly. So when I was putting that roster together, just looking at it, I mean, it probably would make sense to now that we've got the depth, put Brent Seabrook on that third pair. Give him the 12 minutes a night to where he's not up against, high-powered offense or anything like that. Maybe he's got a little bit more of a productive year.
Second power play unit.
Yeah. Getting Calvin DeHaan was huge. Even though he's a little bit banged up right now, sounds like he should be ready at the very least by the beginning of the year, possibly. If he wants to push it.
He said he said he's feeling good. He'll be ready for camp. He's fucking fired up. Dude, this fucking oh my god. Reading the tweets about the people coming into this, like even though the Hawks didn't make the playoffs the last 2 years, everybody that comes in, it's still Chicago. It's still playing for the Blackhawks. It's still that team that won three cups in 6 years, dude. It's fucking like Shaw when he tweeted out he said
ready to go back into battle with those boys.
Yeah, I'm excited to be with Taze and Kane again. I'm ready to go to war with them every single day. I was like, fuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And then we talked about DeHaan getting compared to Jarmuson last time.
Yeah, and then followed up with Oli Imada, nice little addition back there. It's almost like there are too many options on D at this point. There's a little bit too much going on to where they've got to start to make some decisions. And I think one of two things is going to happen. I think they're either going to get rid of Eric Gustafson before he's going to get too expensive, or they're going to get rid of Henry Yokiharu.
Don't. No.
See, my thing is, why not make a run with Gustafson? Don't move up Yokiharu. Make a run with Gustafson this year. If you guys are in a playoff spot by the trade deadline, keep him. Fuck it, just make a run for it, and then bring up Yokiharu next year to take his spot and let him walk if he's asking for too much. Or if you're not in a playoff position by the deadline, move him and get assets and then call Yokiharu up at the end of the year this year. I don't want them to move Yokiharu.
Here's my question on that, though, with Gustafson. Would you rather let him walk and, chance that playoff run, or get a pretty decent asset in return?
I mean, if you're in a playoff spot and your team's looking solid, which they look like a playoff team right now, and they can make it, I'd be fine with if they didn't kill him, and because your replacement is Yokiharu, and this kid's potential is pretty high, so I'm confident in that.
Mm-hmm. And especially if he's putting up the numbers that he put up last year, why would you not want to hold on to that for a playoff run?
Exactly, and I mean, who knows what he's going to ask for next year? I mean, I know he put up a lot of points, but his actual Corsi numbers I think weren't that great defensively. So I mean, you could argue with him and try and get him down, and obviously look at the cap situation and be like, if you want to be a part of this team, you can see what we did last year if they have a good year this year. But
yeah,
it also goes back to our depth at D. Like, if make a run, we don't get anything from him. Well, you know what? We have the depth to take that chance. Like, it's not like we lose him and then we got no one to replace him. There's literally 4 guys in
just waiting to come in.
Just waiting.
Bodine wants to go pro next year too. He's ready to go pro. So I mean, he'll probably be in Rockford, but he's another guy that could potentially jump in and take that spot.
Ian Mitchell could potentially making that jump too.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Who knows? Maybe his numbers drop because he's not using the same position as he was last year because they didn't have the options on D, and he was our go-to guy pretty much last year.
I think training camp and preseason is actually gonna be pretty interesting. I think that battle for the D spots are going to end up panning out, and I think there's going to be some surprises there.
Hey, you want to know what's really funny too? The Hawks only have 5 guys on their roster that with no movement clauses.
We're getting there.
Yippee!
Except the ones that have them, are like most.
Well, I'm looking at it right now. After the 2021-2022 season, Connor Murphy is up. He's at 3.8. William Mata's up at 4.08. DeHaan's up at 4.5. Carpenter at 1. Shaw at 3.9. And then the year after that, Kane and Taves are up at 10.5.
You're getting way too ahead of everything.
No, I know. I'm just saying, a couple years down the line, they've also got to start to kind of think about.
Yeah, but then you have Strome and DeBrincat getting signed next year. And those 2 guys are pretty much your future.
Yeah. But you don't just let Kane and Taves walk.
Oh, no.
No. They're not making 10.5 again.
Oh, God, no.
That's for damn sure.
Kane, maybe. No. Kane might be pushing it, but...
Depends on where they're at.
Exactly, but...
Well, it depends on the salary cap, too.
True. It's supposed to go up in about 2 years. Well, they got a new TV deal, so that's supposed to really make it up. And you got Seattle coming in as long. Well, they got the fucking lockout too.
And you got the lockout coming
Seattle,
up.
welcome to the league. Here's your team. You're not going to play for another fucking year though. You got a lockout.
Before moving on to NHL talk, the schedule had come up for the 2019-2020 year. You guys took a look at it. Anything kind of jump out at you? Any specific games jump out at you? I know 2 for me jumped out.
I got 2.
Well, I mean, not really, but I completely forgot that they're starting out in Europe.
I did too.
Completely forgot that. So, I mean, that jumped out at me because I was not expecting that. I mean, Leafs are in town, and I'm fucking stoked for that. So
I was just about to say
they have what is it? 3 home Saturday games the whole season or something like that.
Yeah. They know that
It's kind of ridiculous.
It's not a working.
Know that I coach on the weekend, and that Sunday's my day off, so that's why they moved everything.
They still play on Saturdays.
Yeah, I know, but not at home, so I can actually see them live on Sunday.
Well, so what game stood out to you, Poets? Because I think
that Leafs game, Sunday, the 10th of November.
Oh, and then I'm guessing Florida for you guys.
Yeah,
Florida. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That Florida game. I think it's in January. Let me take a look real quick.
January 21st, I believe.
The 21st. The other game that I'm actually pretty excited about, especially now, is that first home game against Arizona.
I was looking up to make sure I had the right date.
November 8th.
Yeah, that was the one. Fuck.
Yeah, I was just making sure that was the first one. Yeah, December. I was literally just gonna say I'm excited to see Arizona come into town.
Might have to wear my Kessel jersey underneath my Hawks jersey.
No, never.
Underneath, I said, relax.
Oh, underneath, I didn't. Yeah, you cut out. That's fine.
Relax.
I'm about to spend the money on that jersey. I'm gonna goddamn wear it.
What?
So I'm about to spend the money on that jersey. I'm goddamn gonna wear it.
Oh, I couldn't hear you. It sounded very muffled. All right, let's move on to the rest of the NHL. Before getting into what happened on July 1st, a couple of things had happened before then. A couple of retirees, Roberto Luongo hangs him up. Actually, in Roberto Luongo fashion, made it hilarious on Twitter. Put his pads up over the telephone wire, whatever that's called. Huge fan of that. I don't know. Do you guys think that he's first ballot Hall of Fame?
No.
He's number 3 in the league in wins career.
See, yeah, it's tough.
I mean, I think he is gonna be. It's hard. I don't know. I mean, he's won gold medals, like you said. He's third in wins. He's in the top for every goalie category. He's top 5 for everything. It's a no-brainer. Like, it really is.
I just don't know if it's
plus he has the best Twitter
of
all time.
He 100% is going to be a Hall of Famer. He's 100% a Hall of Famer. I just don't know if it's first ballot.
It depends on who else is eligible to go in. Which also Host is eligible this year, but he's not retired.
Yeah, I don't know how that makes sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Same thing happened.
He's 100% a first ballot. Everybody knows that, but he hasn't retired. He's still getting paid. Like
same thing happened.
So fucking stupid.
Same thing happened with Chris Pronger.
No, we have a hard retire. Which also it goes back to Luongo because he could have just gone on LTIR and it would have helped out Florida and Vancouver. And Vancouver. But no, he was just like, peace out, I'm retiring. And now Host is going to enter the Hall of Fame. And he still hasn't even officially retired. Like, I don't know. It's just so stupid. It's like, I know like players, you just go on LTIR and it's Robidas Island and they're retired, but they're on LTIR with everybody else in the fucking LTIR.
Robidas Island. So I love that.
The NHL knows that teams just get around all their rules and then they still fuck people for just retiring. Like, just don't make it. Just if they retire, they retire. Whatever.
I think the rule is. I don't know if it's exactly this. I'm sure I'm going to butcher it, but I believe it's like X amount of years of inactive play is what makes you eligible.
I thought it was 3 years of retirement.
I don't know.
But I guess inactive play. I guess that would make sense.
Yeah.
Because technically you're supposed to be inactive and retired, so whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Who knows? Brooks Orpik also hung him up as well. 2-time Stanley Cup champion, most recently with the Washington Capitals.
It's wild that he won with the Caps and the Penguins.
I know.
That's hilarious to me.
Yeah. I know you're probably petting Maple right now, but what it looks like from my angle looks bad.
No, I'm trying to stretch out my hamstrings because it's been about 3 years to stretch those out.
Okay.
And
looked into
My leg's peeling, so it's itchy.
Ew. Gross.
Sunburn, you know what happens.
Totally.
Sorry.
We
I'm also
mentioned
fidgety.
we mentioned the Kessel trade. The full details on that. Kessel ended up going to Pittsburgh.
Nope. Nope.
Or I'm sorry,
no.
to Arizona from Pittsburgh, and going the other way was Alex Galchenyuk. Those were the main two parts of that deal. There's also a fourth round pick mixed in there from Arizona going to Pittsburgh. So, I'm sorry, flip that around from Pittsburgh to Arizona. So, Alex Galchenyuk, a little bit of a suitcase.
Yeah, 3
at the
teams in 3 years.
Yeah. Kind of interesting with somebody that's of his talent, I guess, to be moving around like that. But
Montreal screwed him up.
yeah, Montreal didn't really give him the best opportunity. And he also had some issues last year, injury-wise, that I think were still lingering from Montreal that he was really not able to get over. So hopefully he'll be able to find something a little bit more, I don't know, long-term in Pittsburgh.
He's probably going to be a 30-goal scorer playing with Sid.
I was just about to say, playing with Sidney Crosby, he's going to get up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I could at least get talks with playing with Sid.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Probably not. It's all right. You tried. Free agency day one. The thing that kind of sucked about this was that everybody knew it was going to happen on June 30th. I thought that was pretty stupid.
Not accurate, because June 30th, everybody said done deal, Panarin to the Island.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know what? I've been hearing a lot of different rumors, not just about that one, but Anders Lee as well. That that was just the agents throwing out bullshit so they could get.
I believe that.
And that's what I'm like. A lot of people are saying that's what's going on with Marner. It's just his fucking agent stirring up drama to try and make a big thing about him. Mm-hmm. And look, he hasn't gotten offer sheeted, so.
Yeah.
Speaking of offer sheets.
Yeah, offer sheet went to Sebastian Aho from the Montreal Canadiens that he signed. It sounds like the Carolina Hurricanes are going to end up signing that.
They already did.
Yeah, it's official.
They did already end up matching it?
They did today. Okay.
So, yeah, Hurricanes ended up matching it, which everybody pretty much knew that they would. It was a kind of a low-ball offer.
It's funny because the GM came out from Carolina and was like, oh, yeah, you got offer sheeted? Yeah, I'm surprised it was that low. Then why didn't you just fucking sign him to that if you were like, I just don't – they offered him 6. He got 8.5.
Cheap as hell.
Well, he also came out and said, yeah, well, as soon as they offer sheet, he's like, well, at least I know my job's done for the summer. I either sign the thing or I don't sign the thing. Like, I don't have to go through negotiations or anything like that.
Kind of hate that guy.
Yeah, he's a loser, but
but yeah, sign the offer sheet, and everybody basically knew that they would. I heard that contract, the offer sheet that Montreal put up, was front loaded a lot, and they were
$42 million total in contract. In the first 12 months, he gets paid $21 million.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, so he gets half of it in the first year.
Yeah. So get paid, Sebastian.
Yeah. Do they think a team that's trying to get to like the cap floor was not gonna be like, okay?
Yeah, but it's them actually having $21 million to give him in the first year.
Yeah, okay.
Like you have to give him $21 million, and who knows if that owner actually has that amount of money.
Yeah, that guy's kind of like don't like Carolina's like management, like like there's the front office, their ownership group, like I don't know, they just rub me off the wrong way.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to go about things, that's for sure. Another big trade that ended up happening before we get into the free agent signings. Toronto Maple Leafs made a couple big moves on the back end. The first one being Cody Ceci coming in from Ottawa, which have they ever actually made a trade with one another before?
I have no idea.
Yeah, didn't they trade Phaneuf to Ottawa?
Oh yeah, they traded for enough with no retained salary. How are you? Smell you later, Ottawa.
And then the second trade that they made was for Tyson Barrie. Nazem Kadri is out of town. Sounded like it wasn't too. It was pretty like a mutual. Like there wasn't any bad blood or anything like that between Nazem and the front office. It was just business as usual.
Yeah, it didn't sound like it was. Yeah, like you said, it wasn't bad blood. It was. It wasn't like a mutual thing, but it was like an understanding, like an understanding.
Understanding, right? Exactly.
Like Nas is like, all right, I understand. Like I fucked up twice, potentially fucked up a cup the second time. You gotta move me. I get it. You need to they needed to improve their D. Like their center depth was unreal, but they needed to improve their D, and that they did that. So yeah, I mean, he couldn't have been upset about it. It's business, and I mean, yeah, he's gonna do well in Colorado. That's for sure. He's gonna be second line center there probably.
So how are you feeling? Another team that was defensively woeful past couple of years with Toronto. How are you feeling now that these two moves have been made?
Dude, oh my god. So obviously they still have to sign Marner. In the Colorado trade they also got Alexander Kerfoot. He's an RFA. They still have to sign him. Apparently he's gonna want to go to arbitration and try and get $3 million per year. But I mean, he's a center left wing, so if you need him to jump in the center role in the third line, I mean, you could do that. Yeah, it's definitely a better option than Jason Spezza. For whatever reason, they did that. But yeah, I know. I mean, that's huge. And you might even be able to get him lower than that, Kerfoot. And then you pick up Cody Ceci, who's also an RFA. You have to get him signed to whatever he wants. But fuck, man. Leafs look good. Leafs look real good. They needed a right-handed defenseman, and they went out and got two of them.
I don't really hate that Spezza signing.
No, I don't either.
It's not. I mean, especially for $700,000, it's not terrible. At the time, it didn't make sense because they hadn't made any moves for defense, I guess. So I mean, now it's like fourth line role. Like he'll be fine. Like maybe he's the veteran charity case.
He literally, I feel like he just literally came in to take Marlowe's like locker room spot.
Yeah, but for $6.2 million cheaper.
Right. Yeah. And he's a hometown boy, so they need to do their hometown signing for the year.
True. Yeah, I mean, so they went into the offseason saying that they wanted to get rid of Nikita Zaitsev's contract, Patrick Marleau's contract. Connor Brown was probably going to go, and Nazem Kadri is probably going to go. All four of them are gone. They shed all that cap space, and they did things to improve their team still. So, I mean, when you have a top pairing, probably going to be, I mean, maybe Riley Berry. I mean, not Halle Berry. You heard it right. It was Riley Berry. I mean, that's lethal. Barry's a fucking good puck-moving defenseman on the right hand, and Morgan Riley could have gone up for the Norris last year. Like,
should have been.
And then you got
Tyson Barrie is the number one scoring defenseman in Colorado Avalanche history.
That's he's
the team that had fucking Adam Foote, Sandis Ozolinsh, Ray Bourque, albeit for just a couple of years, Rob Blake, albeit for just a couple of years. So, I mean, there's not like slouches that have come through that organization. I mean, that's a really impressive thing to have.
Definitely, but I feel like you also have to think about the time. Like back then, it was more the best D were the guys that could fucking throw you through a wall. They didn't put up points. I mean, those guys still did put up points, but like now it's all about puck moving defensemen, and he's one of the best in the game. Honestly, like his stats right now, I think he's like fourth all time or fourth in like I forget what it was. I don't even want to butcher it because I can't remember exactly what the stats were. But like he's up there in puck moving D in the league right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and not only that, the Leafs have $11 million in cap space, not including the 5.3 that they owe to Nathan Horton that'll go on LTIR. So I mean, that's technically $16 million in cap space. So Leafs are going to be damn good this year, guys.
Yeah.
And they signed Hutchinson, so they got him to back up Freddie. Not a terrible backup to have.
He's only 700, so they
also another $700,000
guy. Has there been any update on like Marner's situation? Is there anything like come out about it, or just kind of wait now?
No, same old shit.
Is it
same old shit?
Is it going to end up being Nylander-esque, or do you think this gets resolved fairly quick?
I don't know. I know. Dubas said that he's not having another Nylander situation with Marner and Matthews last year after the Nylander got signed. He's like, I don't want to go through this ever again, because last year he played the waiting game, and he's like, it didn't help out the team, because obviously Nylander came in and he wasn't what he could have done. But then you got Marner just sitting there waiting, and he talked to Nylander about it, and Nylander basically told him, like, get your money if you want to wait, like, do what you got to do. So I don't know. I'm over it at this point. Like, just either do what you have to do and get him either signed, traded, or get him offer sheeted. Whatever you have to do, just get it done so we can see what the team looks like next year.
He's got both sides. He's got both sides of the equation there, with Matthews signing right away, Nylander waiting. Just fucking do it. Like, make your call.
I don't know. I'm so sick of hearing about it, like offer sheets and stuff like that. Like, obviously, like, we got one this year, and everybody said this was the year offer sheets. It's going to be flying around. There's been one so far, and it got signed. Like,
and it wasn't even a real one.
No,
a real one.
Yeah, I don't know.
I want 4 first rounds going the other way.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
To Toronto, let's go, baby.
Oh my God.
It's a good thing. Yeah, good thing your bet's done.
So talk about some of the bigger names that have been signed in the NHL outside of the Blackhawks or the Maple Leafs, who we talked about enough on this podcast. Sergei Bobrovsky, everybody knew he was going to end up going to Florida. Signed a 70-year, $70 million ticket. Corey Perry ended up going to...
Can we just pause? That's a terrible contract.
Don't pay goalies. Sorry.
Oh, I agree. For his age,
way. Yeah. Not even that. I'm not. No. You have all the fucking leverage there. He wants to be in Florida. He wants to be on a beach. He wants to be on a pretty good team, which Florida's going to be, especially with him in that now. You got to fucking no state income tax. You can sign him to $7 million and be like, hey, you're making straight $7 million, unlike you were on your last contract. Like, I don't know. It's dumb. No way am I paying him $10 million, especially at 31 years old for 7 years. That contract is going to be garbage at the end of it.
I agree that that's a bad contract, but also at the same time, Dale Talent is world famous for large, ridiculous contracts.
But at the same time, when he does it, it's because his teams aren't good and he needs to overpay to get the players there.
Everything is in Talent's corner right now. Coaching, the team's ability. Everything Nolly said, income tax, all that. Like, that's why, like, I don't understand. I want to know if there was any true negotiations, like if this is what they talked him down from, or like what actually happened there.
He probably came out and was like, "Listen, I want 7 years, $70 million." And Dale Talent's like, "Okay." I'm serious.
You don't want 80? Yeah. Okay, sorry. Well,
like, they just got rid of both of their goalies from last year. Like, they need a star-studded goalie, and that was the biggest one you could.
Part of me was hoping that they didn't actually pull this off after they got rid of all their goalies, just because.
And they bought out Darling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Not only did they sign Sergei Bobrovsky, did the Florida Panthers, but they also got defenseman Anton Stralman for 3 years, $16.5 million, and Brett Connolly at 4 years, $13 million. And a little bit of a smaller deal, Noel Achari from Boston, 3 years at $5 million. So honestly, keep an eye out for Florida this year. They can actually make some serious noise.
Oh yeah.
Moving forward, especially with Q at the helm, actually a legitimate goaltender in net now.
Plus you got Barkov and Huberdeau and Trocheck, and you'll probably have Stralman playing with Ekblad, and Ekblad needs that veteran presence with him to be able to be what his full potential is.
Anton Stralman is like the Larry Murphy, I guess. I don't know, for lack of a better comparison, in terms of nobody talks about him, but he's so good.
Just gets the job done.
So good. He's so consistent. Jimmy Vesey ended up going back to Buffalo. Hilarious.
Suck it, VC. Suck at Harvard or Yale or whatever Ivy League you went to.
Harvard.
Whatever you are out there. I don't know.
He went to Harvard.
Matt Duchene decided on going to Nashville once again, like everybody knew he would. Ryan Hartman is on his third team in the last 2 weeks.
And only knew about one.
With the Minnesota Wild, signed a 2-year, $3.8 million contract with the Wild.
They also got Matt Zuccarello.
So weird. So weird what they're doing.
It's weird. Like, that's a weird contract, but the first 2 years of that, it's going to be big for them because I like Zuccarello. Watching him in Dallas this year, like after he got traded, he was hurt and he was unreal in those playoffs, dude. He's a fucking gamer. Like, he can play.
Still, 5 years, $30 million. Once again, kind of like the Bobrovsky contract. That's going to be so bad at the end.
Yeah.
That's going to be real bad at the end.
But it's also Minnesota, so it doesn't matter.
Already.
And he's hurt a lot. Brandon Tanev, probably the biggest contract for somebody who's not in the top 6 normally. 6 years, $21 million with Pittsburgh. What the hell is that about?
Jack Johnson 2.0.
That was confusing. And I think
I don't know if Rutherford knows something that nobody else does, but I don't know.
I think the last big name that was signed was Wayne Simmons, 1 year, $5 million in New Jersey, which I actually kind of like that contract. I feel like he fits in really well in New Jersey.
I just don't understand how he only got 1 year. Like, he's a proven guy. Like, he can score 20 to 30 goals every single season. Like, he's a good fucking player. I don't get it, man. But that's going to be good. I think the Devils will be pretty good this year. They made a lot of good moves so far.
PK, yeah.
I mean, you probably have Jack Hughes with Taylor Hall, and then you got Nico Hischier and Simmons, and then you got PK and
Connor Carrick.
Yep, Connor Carrick, obviously.
He's an RFA, isn't he?
Yeah.
Who?
Carrick.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, he is.
I think. Oh my God, the defenseman from Anaheim that got walked by
Sami Vatanen.
Yeah, Sami Vatanen is also on the team, isn't he?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know what stood out to you guys. Obviously, we just went through a bunch of those signings and everything like that. Anything specific stand out to you?
Did you talk
that kind of
Panarin?
How fucking stacked this Central is.
That's a good point.
Fucking, it's gonna be so good. So I mean, you got Nashville, who goes out and picks up probably the second best. I don't know. I want to say second best goal scorer out of the free agents, but I don't know if that's fair. It's close, but I mean, they get Matt Duchene, like that's huge. They needed that kind of guys. They needed a second line. They needed top line center / second line center, whichever one you're gonna have between him and Johansson. And then I mean, you got Dallas, who goes out and gets Joel Pavelski, which is fucking huge for them, and they get Corey Perry, who might have a good year, who might also just get hurt again. So I mean, that's a team that went to the double OT in Game 7 against the losing team of the Stanley Cup, or the winning team of the Stanley Cup. Then you got fucking Colorado making moves with Nazem Kadri. They got fucking Bowen Byram, Cal McCarr, who's going to be a stud. I feel like every team in the Central got better besides Winnipeg. I feel like nobody's talking about Winnipeg, but I feel like they're in hell. They're going to be in hell. I don't feel like they're going to be a great team going forward.
I feel like there's still something that they're waiting to do, or maybe like a trade that they're waiting to make or something like that, just because they literally haven't done anything.
Well, they have the two big RFAs they got to worry about.
They got Line and Connor and Andrew Kopp, and I mean, and they just traded for that Neil Poink, who is an RFA who they have to sign.
And that's not necessarily where they need the most help. Their defense is shattered.
They went from having such deep D to who the fuck are these guys?
Justin.
I threw that out there to
Kulikov, Morrissey, Nathan Boyou.
I threw it out there to you guys earlier, asking your opinion of it. But the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. Is maybe Jake Gardner.
Yeah, but he's gonna want money, and they can't afford it. They got to sign the fucking 2 other guys. Like it's not.
Yeah.
And no, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they're doing because I mean, I forget what I was listening to. Is one of the insiders talking on a podcast, and they were just saying I think it was on Chicklets, wasn't it today, where they were talking about how they're getting less cap space, but they're losing players. Like they're just signing guys to bigger and bigger tickets, but they lose players. They keep losing players.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting.
It's gonna be a good fucking division. Oh, it's gonna be a good year of hockey.
So looking at a Chicago guy we mentioned on the podcast before, but TJ Tynan actually got signed by the Colorado Avalanche. So
did he really?
Yeah.
I just now.
I was
Today,
literally just looking at it, and it said he was an RF or a UFA.
Yeah, he just got signed to a 1-year contract with Colorado today. It doesn't have anything on, what money he's going to end up making. But a little bit of a change of pace from him. I think this is now his 3rd team.
Columbus.
Started with Columbus, went to Vegas, and now he's with Colorado. So, nice little change of pace for him. Hopefully he'll get a crack at the big squad because that's going to end up being a team to.
Yeah, definitely. Especially because once they pay, like we said, we talked about it last time. They have 5 guys on their 6 guys now on their offense that are actually signed. The rest still have to get paid.
Yeah.
Oh no, they got a lot more in there now. Oh yeah, because they picked up Jonas Donskoy. Like that's a big pickup too. Fuck, man. God, the Central's so good. Another team that's kind of been low key. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Another team that's kind of been low key. The Canucks, man, they've been making a lot of moves.
Yeah, I mean,
no, you guys
no,
you just want to fucking sit there and stare at me.
Well, what stood out to you? What in specific?
I mean, they went out and got Tyler Myers. That's big for them. They got Jordy Ben. That's another solid D. Holy shit! How many fucking they have 10 signed defensemen.
Huh. We thought the Hawks had issues.
I mean, you have Alex Edler, older guy. Yeah, whatever. You got Tyler Myers, Christian Tanev, Jordy Ben, Quinn Hughes. That's a solid back end.
What's their space at right now?
What's
their cap space at?
7.7.
7.7. And then they got a couple. I mean, what did they just sign Tyler Meyer to?
6 per.
5, yeah, 5 by 30.
Man, I almost wonder if it's gonna be really interesting when their young guys need contracts too, though.
I mean, Besser's an RFA.
Yeah, so he still needs to get paid, and you got Patterson coming up.
I don't know. I think
Hughes.
They'll figure out a way to get him in there, but they're gonna be pretty good.
How about New York? Going from 2 years ago, emailing their season ticket holders saying, "Yeah, this is not. We're basically rebuilding, and look at what this in 2 years, I think are a playoff team again."
I don't know if they're a playoff team, but you know what? Give them all the credit in the world for taking this thing and accelerating the quote-unquote rebuild, because they probably should be still in phase 1 at this point. And it looks like they're pretty close to finishing this thing out. They might be a year or 2 away from being relevant again.
I just don't understand the VC move. I thought he was a decent player. He could be a role guy, but if you're still, in, I don't know. They
honestly, it's probably just a cap dump almost for Panarin to make sure that they had enough money for Panarin.
They still have $8 million in cap space. Well, they still have to sign Trouba. I don't know. It was just kind of weird to me because it was they moved him, so it's okay, they're still trying to, they're going through the rebuild, they're getting picks, and then they go and sign Panarin to 11.6 per year, and I'm like, the fuck did that come from? I don't know. I get it. It was kind of obvious he was going to New York, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not giving him that contract personally.
No.
I don't know. I don't necessarily mind it. I mean, he's proven that he could be a complete game changer.
Definitely.
Granted, there are times where he just kind of disappears.
Mhm.
And on that team, he's going to be the number one guy on that team. Whereas with the other teams that he was on, with the Hawks, he obviously had Kane. With Columbus, he could have kind of pushed that off to Atkinson or Dubinsky or Duchesne when he came into town. So it wasn't necessarily all on him. At this point, it's pretty much all on him.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna be sick with Mika Zibanejad though. Like that kid, he can fucking play. He's a low key guy because the Rangers are in the rebuild. Like he's a good fucking player.
He's fun to watch. That's
Yeah,
for
he
sure.
is.
No, I'll throw
He's got a lot of
Capo in there.
talent.
Throw Capo in there now too.
And Kako,
Yeah,
yeah.
these guys are gonna be fun to watch.
I forgot about Kako.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think they're a playoff team, but
I feel like they're locked.
Definitely
yeah, maybe it's saying they're
skyrocketed since what they looked like just last year at least.
Yeah. Hopefully they can give Hank one more run for the cup.
I don't know. Who was the biggest winner for you guys out of day one for free agency?
I don't know.
I'm gonna say Florida. I'm saying Florida.
Florida.
I think they're in a great position right now, and kind of like what we said too. I don't have the fucking stats, so I'm not even gonna shoot it. But their main issue was their goaltending last year, and now that they actually have that goaltender there, I think they're gonna be able to do some damage finally.
And the biggest loser?
Columbus.
Okay.
I mean, they lost all those guys and filled it with Nyquist.
Nyquist, yeah.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is this team? Oh, they're there. What about you, Poets?
For sure, I think for me, one of the biggest losers that nobody's really talking about, the San Jose Sharks. Took a pretty big hit. Didn't really do too much. One of the things that nobody's really talking about is the fact that they lost Jonas Donskoy. He meant a lot to that team. I don't think many people realize that. He meant a lot to that team. Yeah, they were able to re-sign Timo Meier to a 4-year, $24 million contract, get paid. But that's really all that they've been able to do other than that Erik Karlsson contract, which at the same time, they don't have any money to do anything.
Yeah.
That's so dumb. You have no, that was such a I don't know. I won't get into it.
And I think one of the biggest winners is Colorado. Made a couple big moves. They made themselves one of the more scary teams in the league at this point.
They made sure everybody behind McKinnon was better, because you know what you're getting from McKinnon. You're getting a guy that could carry you to the playoffs, and you need the guys behind him to be better, and they did that. I gotta say Dallas, man. I think they made a lot of good moves. Like I like that Pavelski sign a lot, because before they had their top line was Radulov, Sagan, and Ben. You had Pavelski in there, that changes that whole top six. Like he's a fucking stud. So I don't know. I think Dallas did pretty well. I know they didn't do a ton of moves.
So deep too.
Yeah, and I know last episode we were talking about Corey Perry, and I thought it was kind of dumb for any team to go after him, but I think that's not a terrible move either. Him going to Dallas. I think that's good. That they need a scoring depth player, and he could be that in low key minutes, which he obviously wasn't in Anaheim.
I was about to say too, because he could also play pretty low minutes. He doesn't have to get used all the time like he does up in Anaheim. He can kind of maybe take a couple shifts off here or there, or maybe not situations to where it's like a high pressure type of thing. Maybe
or you could throw
back to being the goal scorer that he was before.
Yeah, because he's not a great defensive player either. So I mean, you get him against not the other team's top two pairings, maybe get him in the third line even, and then you throw him on the second power. even if you throw him on the second power play unit with Joe Pavelski in front, fuck, that's dangerous, man. That is dangerous as a second unit. The guy can still put the puck in the net. I don't know. It's just he's got to stay healthy. So yeah, I think that I really like what Dallas did. Biggest losers. I don't know. I gotta go with Winnipeg just because they really didn't do anything, and they need to do stuff, but they also need to sign people, and I don't know. I gotta go with Winnipeg.
Yeah. I don't know. A couple.
Or you can go Islanders. No, I gotta go Islanders, man. Fuck the Islanders, dude. Like we talked about it. Like they're just idiots. They put all their bread into the bread basket. Nice. And Bobrovsky, and then they weren't even gonna sign Anders Lee. Like you're just gonna walk away from, like if they sign Panarin, like they're walking away from Lee. Like 100% they're walking away from Anders Lee. Another loyalty. Oh, nice.
Would it be? I don't know. Would it be considered petty if Anders Lee, if he had gotten that contract from them and just went, no,
nah,
and really put them in like a really, really awful situation? Because he would have gotten offers elsewhere. Somebody else was going to pick him up, probably for the same amount of money.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, other than that, they really didn't do anything. And the other guy they signed was Semyon Varlamov, and that's a dumb signing for me. So I got to go with Islanders, actually.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think that's a better choice than Winnipeg, because Winnipeg still's got an opportunity to be at least pretty decent. I think, and we said this last year about the Islanders, but I really think that they solidified themselves as kind of a train wreck coming up this year.
Lou needs to just get out of that organization. Like he needs to just retire and be done with it because he is so stuck in the past, and it is just gonna hurt that franchise.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm Barry Trotz, I'm kind of looking at this thing going, "Fuck, are you doing?"
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just me. I don't know. That's about it. Anything else from you guys?
Happy 4th of July from when you're listening to this.
I just saw this quote on Twitter though. It's pretty funny. Mets or Gurriel being a free agent. You have so many teams calling you, and you feel like you're the best player in the world. Every conversation you're in, you're just like, "Damn, I'm good." I love that. That's awesome.
Good for him. He gets it. All right. Well, that just about does it. Yeah. Happy 4th of July to all you listeners out there. Stay safe, Nolly. Safe travels down to Smashville.
Appreciates it.
Tell Kara I love her and give her a big hug for me. But other than that, boys, we'll see you later. This was episode 64. We're gonna go with the David Kampf on this one.
Yeah, he re-signed.
Yeah, he did.
Let's go.
So, congratulations, David. You're now the sponsor of this podcast, this specific episode. That's it. That's it.
Just the one.
So, that's all you get. So, for Poets, Nolly, Jarom, and probably drunk Tanner, happy 4th of July, and we'll see y'all later.
I'll pretend to be Tanner. Oh, I love you.
Probably what it sounds like right now.
That was drunk Tanner.
Follow the boys on Twitter at WCBPodcast, on Instagram at WCBPodcast, and like them on Facebook, the Windy City Benders Podcast.